Hey, Miss Osland, where'd your lab coat go?
Oh, well, we're done with science for now.
Well, we're never really done, but
No.
we're done doing lessons about science. But we hope you keep doing science and
Yeah.
keep emailing us about it and keep telling us about all the things you're learning
Yeah.
by being curious.
Curious and observant.
Before we get started on our lesson today,
What could it be?
we should check in with ourselves.
Let's do that.
Oh, a check-in. Yes.
Here we go. How are you today? What are your emotions? How's your body feeling? How's your brain feeling?
How are you feeling, Mrs. Wally?
Well, I'm feeling grateful.
Tell me more.
Mr. Kevin gave us a fan, and it's under the desk, and it's making, you have no idea, I mean, you do because you're here,
Yeah.
but it's making such a difference in my ability to teach and focus today.
I agree.
It's very warm. It's unusually warm for April, and I was really struggling to focus yesterday.
So was
And
I.
so
Yep.
I'm feeling grateful, most definitely in the green zone for being grateful
Yes.
for the fan that's pointing at my feet.
Yay.
Thanks, Mr. Kevin.
Oh, you're welcome.
How are you, Miss Osland?
I'm good for the same reason. I remember, yesterday we checked in with our zones and my body was in the red because it was so hot.
I could see the sweat.
I was uncomfortable. It was really hard to focus.
Yeah, it
so
was really warm.
I too am grateful to Mr. Kevin for taking care of us so that we could be comfortable here.
He takes care of his teachers.
So, the camera won't be, capturing sweatorama today, which
That's
is
good.
Kind of fun. But I have noticed that there's a little, like a fly or something crawling around on the window that's right in front of the TV.
there it
Oh, there it is.
camera.
That's like when we do you look at like the traffic cameras and you like see the spider crawling.
So, exactly.
That's so funny. Another thing I noticed, Miss Osland, is your shirt.
I know. Is that going to be kind of distracting today?
We should. Miss Osland's shirt has some green on it, and so it's like she's invisible.
You're a little holy.
I'm holy
I thought I would
today.
address it being they probably notice it, and so just to let them know what was going on, that no, we can't see through you. That is just that those are the green leaves. Oh, there's
Oh, there's the fly.
again.
Uh-oh.
There's your
Hello,
fly.
Mr. Fly.
Uh-oh.
Off you go. Go, go, go. Come on, keep going.
Keep going.
Come on. Nope. All right. Well, that'll be distraction, but that's okay.
That's
Let's
okay.
go over our 3 personal standards.
Let's do it. Today and every day, we agree to
Show respect, make good decisions,
solve problems.
and as we learned last episode, one of the ways we as a TV classroom community are going to show respect is to honor our Indigenous lands and peoples every single day.
Yes. So I would like to invite you to take a moment and look outside your window if you're able. Look at the sky and the trees and your surroundings, even if it includes the fly.
That's right.
Our physical space stands on the unceded land of the Coast Salish people. We acknowledge the Coast Salish community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We make this acknowledgement as part of our work to dismantle the ongoing legacy of settler colonialism and white supremacy.
It's very important that we recognize.
And as
Yes.
we move forward with this next unit, which is going to be about our Northwest Indigenous lands and people, we're going to continue to elevate and honor the people who came before us.
Yes.
Be grateful for what they have done.
And how they kept where we live. I don't want to say our because that doesn't belong to me. How they have been good stewards of this land. We live in such a beautiful place, and we need to recognize that it's because of their willingness to conserve and be respectful of nature and the things around us. That's why we are able to live here.
That's a really important point. Thank you
Yep.
for saying that. So, as we start our new unit, we are going to start with an observation chart. So, what you need to have in front of you is something to write on and something to write with. So, that could be your notebook, that could be a whiteboard and marker,
Could
it
be
could
your
be a piece
computer.
of paper, it could be taking notes on your computer.
Or a tablet, whatever. But please write it down. We don't want you just to sit. We want you to also write. I am
Make
going to be
good
writing down as
decisions.
well.
So I'm going to show you a chart, and it's going to have pictures on it, and you're going to think about what you notice, what you think, and what you wonder. What are you noticing, thinking, or wondering, Mrs. Wally?
Well, I'm noticing Mrs. Wally and Ms. Oslin.
We're on the observation
We're on the
chart.
observation chart. I think we should explain our pictures.
Yes. So we wanted to start our study of our Northwest Native American culture by looking at the picture of the photo taken a long time ago of those local tribes. And they're in traditional festive clothing. And we wanted to share this with you, but we were worried about perpetuating a stereotype or a belief that present day Native Americans wear their traditional clothes all the time.
Or even Native Americans or indigenous people from the past wore these types of clothes all the time. And so we put pictures of Miss Oslin and I in something that we do not wear all the time.
Nope.
In fact, I have only worn it once. So in my picture, you will see me in my wedding dress, my grandmother on my right, or on the right, it's my left, but your right, on the right in the blue formal dress, my mom on the left in the purple dress, and then my sister on the far left in the brown dress. My mom, my sister, and I, we look a lot alike.
You do.
But that's my family at my wedding. It was a ceremony. It was a tradition that we did to signify me marrying Mr. Wally. And it's something in our culture that we do to celebrate a new marriage.
Yeah, and that's my picture of me on my wedding day, walking down the aisle, and I'm smiling right at Mr. Oslin because he's there to greet me.
So the picture down below is a group of indigenous people at a wedding ceremony. This is what they wore, their traditional dress for the wedding ceremony. This is not the dress they wore every day and walked around in. They had everyday clothing that they wore. But there's a stereotype that sometimes happens when we study different cultures because we're looking at their traditions. We typically see their traditional dress and we forget to look at their everyday dress in everyday life. So we wanted to be really aware of that and point that out, that we're going to be looking at both aspects of people.
Yeah. So let's stop and think about what you think you know about Native American culture. And you'll remember when we talk about culture, we're talking about people who share common habits, attitudes, beliefs, and expectations. Think about what you want to know about Native American culture.
Make that T-chart and then get going on your thinking. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
I think I know that they have lived here for hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
Okay.
And I also think I know that they take great care and pride in conserving our nature and habitat.
Okay.
I want to know more about their everyday lives. And I want to know how the different groups of people who lived in Washington are different. What are their differences?
I was thinking the same thing because I think I know that there's many different tribes within that general term, Native Americans. How are those tribes similar to each other or different from each other?
Because I think I know that they have some really strong differences. And that just because they are part of the Native American culture doesn't mean that they're all the same.
Right.
Just like thinking, I'm trying to relate to our culture, just like present day people who live in the United States. Yeah, we're all United States citizens. But where you live really does differ on what you think and how you feel.
So even thinking back to our observation chart, how you and I had pictures on our wedding day and we noticed that our wedding dresses were
You should go back to it.
were very similar because
Very similar.
we got married just a couple months apart from each
right
other.
at the same time.
But I guarantee you there were things that were different about our wedding celebrations.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there were.
Like-
Different things about how they were said. Like you were talking to me about how you were saying your vows and you and Mr. Osmond like wrote your own vows and Mr. Raleigh and I chose to do traditional vows.
Yeah.
And did you walk down the aisle by yourself?
I did.
I did not. My dad walked me down the aisle. So see, there's differences there. Different people put different emphasis on different things. And it's
Actually, I need
right
to
or
change
wrong.
that. I walked halfway by myself and then Mr. Osmond and I walked the rest together.
not. Oh, that's lovely. Totally different,
Totally
right?
different, but
We still got married. And we
Pretty
still
similar.
had a ceremony.
Yeah.
Right? So different people within the same culture can have different ways of doing things. So I really want to kind of dig deeper and understand more and learn more about how these people lived and live today because they're still here. They still live. There's still indigenous people that live here.
oh, we should talk more about the use of the terms that because we talked
Oh,
about that in a
yes.
different lesson.
Yes.
So we were thinking about we had a chart that said indigenous lands and people for that label, right? We're talking about labeling a group of people.
Right. We want to be very careful about how we label people. And so we've talked to some different people, and they all preferred a different label. So we had this discussion. Do we just use indigenous because it's the one right now that is most widely acceptable? And Miss Osland made a really good point.
I thought that we should use all of them to be more inclusive so that all people feel represented. Because maybe, or I know there's someone out there watching who does not appreciate the label indigenous. Maybe they prefer Native Americans.
Right? Or
Maybe they prefer Indian.
maybe they don't want to be labeled at all.
Maybe they don't want to be labeled at all.
So we're trying to be inclusive of that. Now, if you're watching and you're a part of this culture and we say something that you find offensive, please send us an email because we're learning and we don't pretend to know.
No.
We're really learning along with students about how we are respectful to these people who have done such an amazing job of keeping our land the way it is. So,
Yes. So we'll use the terms interchangeably
so if
in
we
an
use
effort to be inclusive.
so if you hear us use different terms, that's why we're using all the different terms.
And it's important to get to know the people around you, right? It all goes back
Right.
to that rule.
Treating
Treat
others the way
people-
they want to be treated by knowing them. And there's no way we can know all of you.
But we're trying.
We're trying.
So we are no longer, not right now, going to be thinking specifically about science. It will come up.
You're welcome up.
But we're going to be studying what's called social studies, which is the study of
Social norms.
people and places. So our essential question is, how did the environment influence the development of Northwest Native American culture? The environment.
There's the science part.
There it is. Influence the development of Northwest Native American culture. And we don't expect this to be answered
Today. Nope.
or,
It's like at the end of the unit, we'll answer it.
okay, are we ready for some big social studies words?
Don't worry, you don't need a label, Mr. Kevin. You can just say it.
Big social studies word.
The first word that we're going to learn is anthropologist.
Anthropologist. 5 syllables. Now, anthropologist does not help me understand the meaning. Might help me spell it.
Yeah.
Might help me sound it out. But it's not going to help me know the meaning.
Nope.
So let's look deeper at that word.
Yep.
Ologist. Biologist.
Botanist.
One who studies.
That was my
Somebody who
prediction.
studies something. Anthrope. Anthropy?
I wasn't sure. I had to look it up.
One who
People.
studies something. We know it's someone who's going to study something, just aren't sure yet.
Mr. Kevin, were you
I said people.
people?
Anthro might mean people.
A
scientist.
scientist who studies humankind. So you can be a scientist studying humankind.
A scientist
Anthropologist.
who studies the people and their patterns.
Yeah.
So it's like social study science.
Yeah.
Anthropologist.
Relationship between tribes is an interesting area of anthropology.
For a scientist to study humankind. Now, I remember when I took my anthropology course, and one of the things that is very important about anthropologists is you are an observer. You're not interacting, you're not influencing, you're not changing, you're just studying and understanding people. You can interview, but understanding people, you're not giving your opinions or your ideas. You are understanding the people and asking questions, not forming opinions.
No.
It was something that they made really, like it stands out to
Yeah.
me from my undergrad. That was
Yeah.
something that really hit home. And
Yeah.
there was a really great professor in that course.
That's
and
amazing.
it was really fun. I really enjoyed anthropology.
Sounds like it. Okay. We have a boogaloo.
We struggle with these ones, friends. So
We
we're going
do.
to try our best.
We can do it.
Okay,
This
here we
one
go.
was written by Cheryl Graham, and it's called The Anthropology Boogaloo.
I'm an anthropologist and I'm here to say I study native peoples every day. Sometimes I ask questions or hear a shaman song, researching culture all day long. Language, traditions, environment too, doing the anthropology boogaloo. Ooh. I study about people and what they used for hunting, fishing, and cooking food. I learn about the shelter that the people lived in, made of cedar planks or deer or bear skins. Language, traditions, environments too, doing the anthropology boogaloo. Now I want to make a point.
Yes.
They said native peoples.
Go back.
That doesn't mean just the indigenous people in America. Anthropologists study native peoples all around the world. And it might not be cedar planks, bear skin, or deer skin for their homes. It might be something else. But because we are studying those things, that's in this song to help us remember those things. But I wanted to point that out before
Thank
we
you.
moved on.
I think that's important.
I research special events of early life, along with natural everyday strife. I study the tools natives created for their survival, technology aided,
Language,
traditions, environment too, doing the anthropology boogaloo. I study each region, culture, and tribe. The information collected, I will scribe. I carefully record native celebrations handed down through many generations. Language, traditions, environment too, doing the anthropology boogaloo. This is probably the best one we've done.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Very nice.
That was fun.
So, friends, we're studying the people just of the Northwest.
yes.
There are anthropologists that do this all around the world and study all of these things about these cultures. And they can be studying things about cultures past or cultures present.
And I wonder if that helps them think about cultures in the future.
Because cultures change over time.
Mr. Kevin?
I was just going to observe
Yes.
that hundreds of years from now, the first people who colonize Mars, they will be
Yes.
the natives of that planet.
Right. Unless we find people there or something there. But I don't think we have, and I don't think we will. We've been there for a while with our rovers. I think
Yeah.
we would have found them by now. And those people are then going to have children, and they're going to study back to the world and study about the people who lived on Earth. It's pretty interesting, isn't
Very interesting. Okay.
it? Okay.
We have.
Gotta stand for
an
this
input
one.
chart. You want me to move this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to do an input chart all about the
Northwest Indigenous lands and people.
Mrs. Wally, could you put your transmitter pack up on the table, please?
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. This is the longest of all the things I'm going to write now. We have been having Miss Osmond pass me some little pieces, but there's so much to label here that she's just going to say it as I do it.
So we're going to start by talking about the present day states as we
And countries.
as we know and have and call them. So right now Mrs. Wally is outlining what is present day Washington. That's the state that you and I live in.
And that you at home, if you are from Tacoma Public Schools, live in. Now, someone might be watching from another country or
Yes.
state. That's the great thing about YouTube. So we've got Washington here. There's lots of inlets and things and
Islands.
groups of islands. I just want to, this is not accurate, but I'm just putting them there
Yep.
so that we remember that they're there.
Yes.
Okay. Up here, and I'm going to put right here, I don't have space in Washington to write this, so I'm going to write it here. Present day Washington, that's our state.
And then north of our state,
Oh, look down here. Look what I have.
oh yeah,
I have a compass for our map.
that helps us know which direction.
No, I had a teacher teach me this.
Yes.
To know which direction goes which way. You start at the top like a clock and go clockwise position. And it goes like this. Never eat shredded wheat. Now, there is a cereal called shredded wheat. I don't know if you know it, but it's wheat and we didn't like it back then. And so, or you could be never eat soggy waffles. You'll always remember. Okay.
So as we move north
North.
for present day Washington, that is present day Canada. Canada is a country made up of several, they're not states, help me,
There are territories.
territories. Thank you. I lost that word for a moment.
Each country calls the division of land different. Present day Canada. And then over here, I don't know where it sneaks down, but this is present day Alaska. It's not really part of the Northwest, but that little tip is. Okay.
And then off the coast of Canada, or present day Canada, we have Vancouver Island.
We'll do that when we do the landforms.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to put it here. I'll label it when we do the landforms. But this is Vancouver Island, and it is part of Canada. What's over here?
That is present day Idaho. That's to the east. And to the south, we have present day Oregon. That's where I grew up.
Okay. Great. Now let's talk about the landforms. What do we have going on?
Landforms. Well,
Let's do
let's
Vancouver
do Vancouver
Island.
Island.
It's a really big island in Canada.
It's off the west coast of present day Canada.
Okay. We also have,
Ooh, the Cascade Range. Those are the mountains that run up through Washington and Oregon and up to Canada.
and through yep. And they run down into California too. You might have heard of the Cascade Subduction Zone.
Ooh.
And that is a geography term about tectonic plates that move and collide with each other and cause earthquakes. Okay. Then we also have
Up in the northeast of Washington,
the Okanagan.
Highlands.
Yeah, it's another
Okanagan
little
Highlands.
range that is part, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this is whatever part of the Rocky Mountain group. Okay.
Certainly not all the landforms, but just a general overview.
Thinking
of-
about that question, how did the environment influence? Thinking
Yep.
about this very large mountain range here, and it's getting my brain going. Now we're gonna do some water. Now
Water.
this isn't all the water, but these are the
No.
two major ones.
Yeah. So off the west coast. Oh, no, we're going to go there.
Yes, for the.
Okay.
That's where it
So
starts.
is from the Pacific Ocean, the Columbia.
Oh, you wanted
River.
me to do Pacific Ocean first. Let's do that first. Off the west coast is the
Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. That makes sense because then it flows. And
The Columbia River leads in, and that is the border, or goes along the border between Washington and Oregon.
until right about here. And then it goes up like this.
That is a long river.
It's a long, and it might go further, but that's where my chart ended it. I'm going to do this.
The Columbia River originates up in British Columbia.
Yeah,
There
so
you
it
go.
goes up.
Yep.
I'm
Which
gonna
is a
use this.
territory in present-day Canada.
Columbia River is there. It's also here. Then there's also this river.
Ooh, that's the Snake River. The Snake River also goes along the part of the border between Washington and Idaho.
It does. It comes up, and so I'm going to just have it go there. Okay. So here's some of the environmental features of our state and this land. Now let's move into the people who originally
Yes.
were on this land.
Should we start with our coastal tribes?
Let's start with our coastal tribes. Maybe we just go around the coast.
All right, sounds good.
So up here in the very corner, what do we have, Miss Oslin?
Up there in the very corner, we have, I got to say
The
it better, the
Makah.
Makah. And I was doing some research about the Makah tribe. And they, I found on their website, they call themselves the Cape people because they're on the Cape of Washington State.
This is the Klallam tribe.
Through here is the Strait of Juan de Fuca.
Oh, I didn't put that one in there.
I forgot
Yes, I
that.
forgot to put that in
that.
there. Strait of Juan de Fuca. Okay. Then we have this piece of land right here. Now, these are approximations. They're not perfect.
No. We have the Quileute.
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 And
I did research to do my best to pronounce these correctly. If I
And
do it wrong, let me
us know. And the
Feedback is a
Quinault.
gift. And the Quinault tribe.
Yep.
And then to the south, or do you want to move it inland?
We'll do the south. We'll just go along the border.
Do Chehalis, Cowlitz.
Ah, wait a minute. I know these names.
There's also up in that area the La Push.
Yep.
La Push.
There's actually many, many, many different ones, but they tend to group. Like they have different tiny ones that are grouped in one larger tribe.
And then the Quiliqua.
And do we want to go up here or do we want to go down and around? What do you think?
Let's mark
Oh,
in
yes.
the Tawana. There we go.
And maybe go around here?
Yeah, the Puget Sound Salish.
That is where we live. That's where Tacoma is. And in the Puget Sound Salish tribes, there are many different tribes. Tulalip, the Puyallup, the Snohomish, There's lots.
There's a lot.
There's many, many, many. But they're all part of the Puget Sound Salish tribes. Okay. How about, oh, this is the Strait Salish, right up here in the corner.
Straits Salish. We have the Nooksack, the Lumi.
And that's because they're along this strait right here. Okay. And then here,
The Thompson Salish.
And Miss Oslin and I were having a discussion about how some of these names we are wondering about. Because I know that Thompson originates not here on these lands. It originates over in the European lands. So I'm curious if there was
Where
something
name
that
came
happened.
from.
How did
Yeah.
that happen? Or is it something that was there? And that's one of the things I'm curious about.
And then moving into present day central and eastern
Washington.
we have Colville and Okanagan.
Which it's next to the Okanagan
Okanagan
Highlands, so that
Highlands.
makes sense. And then right here on the corner,
Kalispell.
and then here,
Spokane.
that's one of our major cities. But this is not the city. This is the group of people that lived there. And then right here next to Spokane,
Coeur d'Alene.
and that is also part of Idaho.
And then south of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene is Palouse.
And that goes all the way like this.
I wonder, now I'm thinking, how did the Snake River impact the development of the Palouse tribe, flowing right through?
I know there's a place called the Palouse Falls.
Then we have the Nez Perce.
I think it's Pierce.
Pierce.
I could be wrong. But that's
Actually,
what I
it's
remember.
Nez Perce.
Nez Perce.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nez
we were
Perce.
both wrong.
Yeah.
Nez
Thank you,
Perce.
Mr. Kevin.
No, that's good. Yeah. I remember that from my junior high school learning about Washington
Oh,
State.
good.
Yeah.
Nez Perce.
So it's interesting to note because we're looking at these names and kind of struggling with them a little. The English version is really different than the
Yes.
native
Yes.
pronunciation.
Yes, it is. And so we're doing our best, right? But we may have some of them wrong. And let us know if we
Yep.
do, if you know. Then up here, there's a really long stretch of territory, is a few different ones. Let's see, where is my line for that one? Right here.
So there's
This.
Tenino. Wasco Wishram. And Chinook.
And we've named a salmon, the Chinook salmon, and they go through the Columbia River. Now, in the center of our state, we have two different groups of people.
Columbia Wenatchee.
And
Yakima. And Sahapton.
up here, in present-day Canada, there's also
Bellicota. And Haida.
okay. Take a look at that. So I'm very curious about this mountain range. I'm curious about being on the coast and being in
Yes.
all of these islands. I know that there are a lot of different groups that live here and live on the Strait of Juan de Fuca. I'm curious about the impact of the Columbia River and if that was a positive or negative thing. And I know here there's plateaus, and if you've ever been to Eastern Washington, you would know that there's not a lot of trees. It's desert environment. So I'm curious how they differed between the two.
Yes. And how the environment
Influenced.
influenced the development of Northwest Native American culture.
How interesting.
Cultures.
Just by saying it and looking at it, I am coming up with so many questions.
I have a lot of questions.
So today on Flipgrid, I think we should talk about what your questions are. What patterns are you observing on this chart? What do you notice about where these groups of people are located? What questions do you have? I will take a picture of this and put it on the Flipgrid so that you can refer to
That's
it.
a great idea.
I'll remove all my pencil marks. It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
All right.
Love it. All right. If you're not comfortable posting on our Flipgrid, of course, there's other ways that you can share with us your questions, what you think you know, and keeping in mind that what you think you know will probably change.
Oh, it's changing for me every day.
Mr. Kevin, how can our third graders send us their thinking?
So you can send us an email with your district-approved laptop to TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us, or you can always send something in the regular old mail to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin.
Awesome.
Now it's time for our affirmation. And I think that we should all remind ourselves that we are anthropologists. I am an anthropologist.
I was thinking something different.
Oh,
And we can decide which one we want to do. I was thinking I am respectful of others and their culture.
because anthropologists are respectful of others and their culture.
Just a little bit more, a little deeper.
More detail. As an anthropologist, I am respectful of other people and their culture. There it is. Let's all take a deep breath together and say our affirmation.
As an anthropologist, I am respectful of other people and their culture.
Excellent job today, third graders. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV classroom.
I'll see you on Flipgrid. Bye, friends.
Rules. 1. You have 10 seconds to pick your crewmate. 2. A new timer will appear with an exercise for the crewmate you picked. 3. You will get points for each correct crewmate and exercise you choose. 4. If you pick the imposter, you will lose all your points. 5. Use your math skills to see how many points you can get. Good luck!